Hey guys, welcome back. How are you? I hope you are good and doing well. So, in the last lecture, we provided two different options for users to register into the system. Okay, and when user is employer, so you can see that when user is employer, we are adding this company name attribute into the form, and when user is job seeker, then we are not asking this company name attribute for the registration. Okay, and we are setting its role based upon this type query string into the URL. Okay, so if type is higher, then the role is employer, and if type is seeker, then the role is job seeker that we are setting through the form. Okay, and here in this lecture, we need to override the registration controller create action. Okay, why? Because this company name is required if user is the employer. Okay, but this company name is not an attribute of the user model. Okay, and by default device registrations create action only works for the model which are associated with that particular device resource. In our case, it is the user resource, so it will only work for the user models attribute. Okay, but company name is an associated model attribute, and we just want to save it through the registration form, so we need to override that controller. Okay, now what we need to do, that first go to the code, and here you can see that this is the create action within the user registrations controller. So it is commented right now, so we just need to comment this out. Okay, and here what we need to do, that first we need to make a check whether this parameter company name is present into the URL or not, in the params or not. Okay, so make some space into the terminal. Okay, and try to submit an empty form. So when you submit this, you will see an error that company must exit if user is an employer. Okay, so we are submitting this form for the employer, and we can see that this is the company name. Okay, so now what we need to do, that here we just need to do if params company name dot present. Okay, else we need to just call the super. Okay, sorry, super. Okay, that means if company name is not present, that means it is just a job seeker. So we can simply call the super action here. Okay, now if a company name present, then we need to fetch the company. Okay, so company equal to company dot find or initialize by, and then name is params company name. Okay, so what does this mean? That company equal to company dot find or initialize by. So find or initialize by is an active record query method. Okay, and here you can see we are calling this on the model company, and the name params company name. Okay, that means this query will first make an attempt to find the existing company or the matching company with this name that the employer is supplying through the form. Okay, if it is found, then it will assign it to this company object. Otherwise, it will initialize an empty object of the company. Okay, and then we need to make a check that unless company dot persisted here, if company is not persisted, then we need to save it. Okay, so that's why we did unless company dot persisted. Okay, now what we need to do here, company dot save, and then validate false. Here, this validate false is used to skip the validations. And why we are skipping the validations? Because if you go to the model and the company model, you can see that address and contacts are also the required and unique required attributes for this, and it must be unique as well. Okay, but in the form we are only using this company name as an attribute, so we need to override the validation rules here. Okay, so this is how we can do this. Now we need to override this device create action implementation for the registration controller. Okay, so rather than writing that code, let's go to the device gem. Okay, so here open the device gem in new tab. So just click on it, and then go to the app. Because we are overriding the controller, so we need to go through this control device controllers, and in the device controllers we need to open the registrations controller. Okay, and here you can see that we have this device create. Okay, create action. So this is the code which is working by default. Okay, so build resource is a method defined in this controller itself, and you can found this method below in this controller. So here you can see build resource. So what is this is doing, that this is instantiating a empty resource or empty device resource. Okay, so here you can see that in the create action, first we need to override the we need to copy this. Let's copy all of this. Okay, and paste it here and correct the indentation. Okay, so we need this part build resource sign up params, and once the resource has been built or once the resource has been initialized, then what we need to do, resource dot company id is equal to company.id. Okay, no matter whether we are assigning it a matching company or after or a newly created company. Okay, so this is how it works. So you can see build resource sign up run, so it is instantiating an device resource, and then here we are assigning the company id attribute to the device resource, and then we are saving the device resource. Okay, and here you can see if resource is persisted, then it is checking that whether it is active for authentication or not. Like if it is active for authentication, that means if there is no confirmation and no errors, then it will just say that user has been signed up successfully, and then call the sign up method. Okay, otherwise it will send some error message. Like in our case, we are sending a confirmation message because we enable the confirmable module true in the user model. Okay, and then we are already calling super if this params is not present. Okay, now what we need to do, we need to test this, but before that we need to make a minor change, and the change is related to the form. So if you go to the employers form, okay, and refresh it, now you can see that we are seeing the company name attribute here. So let's register now. You can see we are still seeing the error message which is company must exist if user is an employer, but the field for providing the company name is disappear from the form. Okay, so we need to make one change into the URL of the registration. Okay, so here you can see registration path, resource name. So what we need to do, that we need to provide the query parameter into this form as well. Okay, so here type params type. Okay, now if you refresh the page, okay, and click on the empty form, you will still see the company name is present into the form. Okay, so this is the change that we need to make. Now let's go to the let's go to the controller and add a debugger into this registrations controller. Here debugger. Okay, or let's add it here and create a new user. Okay, so for example, let's first find all the companies. Okay, so here you can see, let's copy this company name. Okay, so this is the company name, and here what we need to do, provide this company name. Okay, and add, let's say, Ravi Kashyap, and then Ravi at the rate newcompany.com. Okay, and then password. Okay, now what we need to do, make some space. Okay, since you already have the debugger, uh, so let's click on the register. Okay, so this contact number is need to be unique, so let's change this. Okay, and now let's edit. Sorry, restart the server because it has not halted the user. So here we need to paste the company name again. Okay, so let's click on the register now. If you click on register now and go to the terminal, you can see that the debugger has halted the execution. Now if you can see that Param's company name is present, so that's why we are in the debugger. So you can see that this is the company name, and now you will see that what this find or initialize by will do. Okay, so if you just paste this here, you will see that this is the existing company that we can see. Okay, now if you go to the next step, Go to the next again, next again, next again. Okay, now you can see resource. You can see resource. Okay, so this is the resource. It is just initialized. Okay, and you can see its company ID. So you can see resource.company. You can see that this is the company. Okay, so we are now using the existing company into the database to create a new employer. Okay, and within that company. Okay, so you can exit it now, and after exiting you can see that we are seeing this confirmation message. Okay, now let's try to create an employer with a new company so that we can see whether it is creating a new company or not. Okay, so go to the sign up page again and choose the register as employer, and let's say new company 2025. Okay, let's say Alex Smith, Alex at the rate newsy.com. Okay, and then okay, now let's make some space into the terminal again, and then click on the register now. Okay, so you can see that a new account has been created. Okay, our debugger didn't halt the execution, but here in the logs you can see that it has created a new company, and the company name is new company 2025. Okay, and you can search this company on the browser as well. For example, here 2025. Okay, so this company has been created. Okay, so this is how we can override a device controller, and you can see that we see this confirmation message as well. Okay, now let's try to register a job seeker. Okay, so for example, job seeker new at seeker.com. Okay, and then password. Make some space into the terminal and click on register now. Okay, so you will see that again a user has been created, but this time no company is required and no company ID has been assigned to this user. Why? Because we created a job seeker, and here you can see that the role has been set as the job seeker as well. Okay, so this is how we can register to different role users into the into a Rails application using device, and this is how we can override our device registration controller as well. Okay, so and depending upon your need, you can add more functionalities here. Okay, so that's all for this lecture. So here, what we cover that we customized this create action for the device registration controllers. Okay, and you can do this for any device resource. I mean, whatever your device resource name is, here we did it for users, but you can do this for different resource name as well. Okay, you just need to make sure that you did you just need to call these things, and then you can perform your custom behavior there. Okay, and if it is not needed, then you can simply call the super, and super means that it is calling the implementation which is done here, that is device registration controller. Okay, so I hope you like this idea. So follow this and try to customize this device registration controllers create action, and we will meet into the next lecture. Till then, tata, goodbye, take care, and stay safe.